With me, Daina Falk from Gameday.com or is
Hungryfan.com.
Hungryfan.com. I already messed it up. Hungryfan.com. You'll see her on TV. You're on CBS.
I was on CBS Sports working on a new project. Stay tuned for more information.
But I guess the question is, and we've known each other now for a bunch of years, but what's interesting is like you had a great book that you came out with, some of your famous tailgate traditions and recipes.
Yeah.
How'd you get into this?
Well, story goes, my dad is a sports agent who you know very well and you work with at the Falk School, among other things.
You can't miss him, David Falk.
David Falk.
Michael Jordan's agent. And
yes, among others.
So did that wear on you, though, growing up in a home like that?
Of course. So the story goes, I was in my mother's stomach traveling with mom and dad and Team USA basketball on an exhibition tour through France and Italy. So when I tell people I've been doing this a long time, I've literally been doing this as long as it gets for a lifetime.
And you've met a few players.
And I met a few players, and they were all like family, and I had like the very world's tallest uncles when I was a child. I remember when I was really young. I think I put this in the book actually in a story. Sean Bradley, who was an NBA player out of Utah, Mormon guy, 7'6", put me on his shoulders one day, and I think that was the first time that I remember like fear, like real legitimate fear that I could get hurt. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you just like bump into stuff and you fall down and nothing like phases you at all. And then at some point it occurs to you, oh my gosh, like I could really get hurt doing this. He was, walking me around the house. My parents had just put this new tile floor in. It was like a real tile, not like the fake tile that we used to have. And it occurred to me that if I fell and my head or some part of my body hit this tile, it was really going to be painful. So yes, I grew up around all of this stuff. And the thing that I always kept coming back to, having worked for teams, having a pretty good idea from like the perspective of the agents and the players what game day is like, and also having worked in a media capacity as a journalist, a freelance journalist for 3 Super Bowls and an Olympics for NBC Universal. The thing I kept coming back to was that when you think about game day, the piece that's missing and the piece that I'm the most excited about is the fan experience. And there was no like arbiter of content. There's no like curator of taste, or I should say arbiter of taste, curator of content. No Martha Stewart type person, a lifestyle person, or a lifestyle platform for sports fans on game day. What do you do if you're tailgating? What do you cook?
Game day is big.
It's huge, but there was no. It was sort of just like the Wild West. And I started looking at this in like 2007. I just graduated from Duke a couple years before, and I thought like if there's something that I'm going to get up and do every day and have it be really genuine and authentic to who I am and what I love, this is it. This is it. I know everything about game day. I've been doing this my whole life. I've tailgated, I've camped out, I've done everything that you're supposed to do, and I love these people. And like the pièce de résistance is like if you're ever going to have an audience or a consumer group that you want to market to, there's no better group of people than sports fans.
So your ultimate goal is to carve or create the newest and best tailgate experience as far as the food is concerned, or just the overall experience?
It's really just the overall experience. I'm focused on, Hungry Fan, we have 3 buckets. We do media and content. We do products. We have our own products that we sell. We also curate other people's products. And we do events and hospitality. So I host events, but we also put tailgating events and activations together for brands, for teams. We're working on one right now for New York.
So if I was doing a big tailgate party, you would come in, help me put it together?
Yeah. Food.
Location.
Like the menu,
equipment.
we literally everything. We have soup to nuts. We could put together your entire tailgate.
You've grown a lot, girl. Like since we talked like 2.5 years ago.
I have partners. Like at Hungry
cool.
Fan Small, we're a startup, so it's really, I think, like for people who are interested in starting a business, it's always really important to remember you can't do everything. So until you can, it's really important to have partners who can fill the gaps that you need. So no one's going to get mad at you if you bring them new business, right? They're going to be really happy. So. We have activation agency partners that help us do our builds, create stuff from scratch. You want a tailgating tent that can fill 150 people and food and drink and waiters and waitresses and
whatever.
What's the
most outrageous
we got
tailgate you've been involved in? Give me one specific. Besides Krzyzewskiville, that insanity.
I just took my husband there. We went to the Duke Carolina game for his first time.
Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, Zion's shoe exploded with 36 seconds in the game, which was whatever.
That's a shame.
It really was a shame. But it's such an amazing experience. I will say, I think the answer to your question is the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville, which is called the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
And it's crazy.
There's like 250,000 people. And it's warm because it's Jacksonville, so, you know, and it's like in the fall, but, you know, it's warm, so you're not bundled up and you're not, I mean, I will say, like, when you see some of the stuff that people do, like in Kansas City and at Lambeau Field and in Wisconsin during the winter, it's amazing. These people are diehard, incredible. But the world's largest cocktail party is just insane.
Anything particular going on there that really caught your attention or anything you did there that was a little outrageous, or?
I was actually there with one of our brand partners. We work with this awesome fresh. Actually, they were touting their organic line. It's called Fresh Cravings. It's a salsa company.
We can plug companies here.
Yeah, I mean they're friends. Yeah, it's actually really good. I will say I really only like working with brands that I legitimately like, and I would serve my friends or family at my own tailgate. So I do like that salsa. Yay, Fresh Cravings.
Good job.
But we were doing an activation for them, like their whole thing, which I think is cool. Like brands will come to us and say, like, hey, we want to reach whoever and we want to do an activation. Can you help us? So we put together we did a 2-stop tour for them, one at Florida State and one at the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville.
Florida State's big too?
Florida State, well, they had a bad year. They've had a few not so great years. It's actually pretty sad how attendance can really suffer when a team doesn't do as well as usual. It's pretty remarkable.
I mean, they've had a hell of a run. They'll be back though. Yeah, they'll be back.
They'll be back.
So you did a 2-stop tour on that.
Yeah, we did a 2-stop tour, and you know, like they said to us, like the bottom line for us is we want to put salsa in people's mouths. That's how we know if we're doing a good job, because if people taste it, inevitably they're going to like it. There's no way that they won't, because it is really good, and they're usually right. And so we brought out Major Wright and Aaron Murray there were 2 respective teams. We had cornhole, like people really want to just have their pictures taken with these guys. Sampling, but like that's our tiny little space, and then all around us there's just crazy. I mean, we were talking about like great tailgating vehicles. There's these folks down there who are Florida fans, of course, who drove up in what they call the Jort bus. You know, jean shorts, jorts, very popular.
I love the creative buses and vehicles. If you have a creative bus, vehicle, car you've decorated out there, please send it in. I love seeing those things.
Me too.
And by the way, I'll add something to put in that bus if you come up with something really creative. But I love the way they just decorate these things.
Yeah.
I noticed at Notre Dame at a tailgate, I've never seen more creative vehicles for the Irish.
We had,
amazing.
I saw at this particular tailgate, so what we did is I went around and I was giving out salsa for people to taste, but we were also doing a contest for like the best tailgate, and the winner won. I made a Bloody Mary, a huge Bloody Mary using salsa for people, and then they got like...
You can make Bloody Marys with salsa.
Yeah, why not?
That's true.
It's tomato.
That's
not
true.
like not super chunky.
Now, last time we talked, you had your cookbook.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. Are you now... When I go to your website, are you constantly posting new recipes and things like that?
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
Yeah,
or?
we have a ton of recipes at hungryfan.com. I mean, a ton. And
are you still cooking? Or
Yes. I actually just did another recipe on Friday for another brand partner of ours, Smithfield. We really focus on Hungry Fan I mean, I love college basketball because I did go to Duke.
Same.
I did one college application, Brandon, just one, because I just wanted to be a Cameron Crazy. That's all I cared about.
Really?
That's it. That's all I wanted.
That's why you went to Duke.
That's why I went to Duke. I know, Syracuse people, Maryland people, they're like...
Yeah, but listen, the Dome, I didn't know I was getting into the Dome thing at Syracuse, but, like my kid loved Michigan football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Everybody's, the school thing is the school thing. It's nothing like going to basketball at the Dome, but nothing like going to the Cameron. There's nothing like it. It is amazing.
While I do love college basketball, and that's what we're really looking at that right now. Obviously, we have March Madness Selection Sundays in like less than 2 weeks. We focus at Hungry Fan on football and motorsports primarily, so like NASCAR, because it's a very similar audience with very similar game day traditions. Tailgating is very big in football, just as big as it is in NASCAR. I host the Nascar Fan Fest every year for the Pocono Raceway, which is usually in July. And like the last 2 years, they've had 33,000 people camping out in the infield at the Tricky Triangle. When I talk about it, I can't like not do Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights. Like I can't.
But is it every character on the Moon, Sun, and Stars there, or what?
You find everybody. It's really amazing.
I've never been to a car race before, man.
Oh my God, you should come. Come this year.
Yeah.
Come with me this year. you don't appreciate how fast these people are going. These drivers are going when you watch on television. I mean,
you don't see it.
Watching a race on TV it's kind of like watching a hockey game on TV. It's very hard to watch. Like the puck is this big, you can barely keep track of what's happening because you can't see the puck.
Like what would you do? What do you do? What do you do there? I mean, are you setting up?
People are there on Thursday.
So you're setting up an experience throughout the weekend?
Yeah. So we do. My favorite thing about what we do. So we show up. And in the years past, we've gone into the infield, which is where these people park their RVs. And, like, the RVs are, I'm going to tell you, like, one day I will have one. I have, like,
really
life goals. I would like to have one of these RVs.
To have an RV?
Yes, like a souped-up, awesome tailgating RV. They're amazing.
Funny, like, I asked my wife if we could, like, rent an RV and, like, do a trip, and she's like, I'm not even going ever in one of those.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's driving them scares me because it's just...
Even with that, or a rock and roll bus, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or like a John Madden bus, right?
Yeah. We used to get the Madden bus from Sandy Montag.
Seriously?
He has the Madden bus. We go on little trips with the Madden bus.
I would see like that to me.
That was cool.
That's like a bucket list thing.
Madden may not have had all that wrong. Not flying. The buses were cool. That satellite, the TVs.
Yeah. If you're me,
cool.
like, you put like a Peloton or something on there so you can get some exercise while you're moving, and then maybe like a PS4 or something. Play some.
Hard for you to set this business up. I remember at the beginning we were just getting started. What do you remember back as the biggest challenge?
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of challenges. I think I was just having this conversation this morning.
Is it hard for a woman, first of all?
Yes.
Is it more difficult for a woman than a man to get into the sports thing?
Yes. I mean, I don't want to sound like #MeToo
real.
or whatever. So I've had instances where I've had men, like, short of like patting me on the head like a child, saying like, call me when you have a male partner and we'll discuss. I mean, I've literally had that happen like 3 times.
Wow.
Which is sort of,
that's sad.
I mean, when you think about, so when I got started, the reason that the way that I wanted to go about this was apparently ass backwards. I wanted to do a show around game day traditions. Like I produced a show in 2006. I graduated in 2005, produced my first show in 2006, living in LA, and I wanted to do more programming. I really like content. And I had a great conversation with a guy named Mark Canton who, funny enough, I actually just saw on TV last night in a documentary about the making of Caddyshack. He ran, I think Miramax. He was at Sony. Like, he's the one who's responsible for Batman with Michael Keaton. He made the 300. He's done some really great stuff. His ex-wife actually made Forrest Gump, which is pretty great.
Wow.
Yeah. I think she also did The Devil Wears Prada.
So they got that in your blood? Was that that's where you got the aha moment to get on TV with your content?
So and I said, like, okay, look, like, I've produced this show. It was a reality show that did pretty well in 2006 about a basketball player. And I thought, like, this is cool, but, like, I'd actually prefer to be in front of the camera and behind the camera because I can do what these people do. This is reality TV. Like, this was during the Whitney Bobby era where Trainwreck TV was, like, it. And we haven't strayed that far, actually, if you think about it. And with all, like, the Real Housewives stuff, you're just like, oh, my God. Okay, but it's great, like, guilty pleasure
It's
stuff.
an era, though, of good TV, though, too.
Scripted
really good
TV is great. Scripted TV is great.
The other stuff is kind of just in the same place. It's mediocre.
I mean, you see, like, movie stars making TV shows now. Like, I mean, I just watched The Kaminsky Method with Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin.
How great was that?
It's great. I mean, these are, like, two amazing actors
stars,
making, streaming content. It's incredible.
I love that show, by the way.
This is a really good show. I mean,
really
he won the Golden Globe, so I was like, okay, I have to watch this. I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm like a younger female.
When was the last time you watched anything Michael Douglas and it was bad? Not often.
Not often, right? So that's why.
And all the stuff he does, he just takes you in.
He's so he's so charismatic. Anyway, so I wanted to produce this show, and Mark said to me, like, look, maybe you could do the show. You have a production credit now. You're on an IMDb page. You could do this, but nobody knows who the hell you are. So, like, if you wanted to host this show, nobody knows who you are. Like, we could get Alyssa Milano to host the show. Everybody knows who Alyssa Milano is, but nobody knows who Daina Falk is. So, like, why don't you go and, like, create a website and, like, make some YouTube videos? Like, Instagram was not a thing yet. Facebook was a thing, but it wasn't, like, a thing. Twitter didn't exist.
So this must have been hard.
Yeah, this whole social media thing happened and, like, blew up during this process. So I was just like, okay, I'll start a website, which I did. I did YouTube videos, which did absolutely nothing. I think you could probably still find them on YouTube. They have, like, 4 views.
Well, now 5. If you go
5,
watch,
maybe 6.
We got a lot of people watching. We may even get up to 10.
Yeah, blow it up, guys. Just blow it up. Then social media happened, and I think, and when I say social media, I really mean like Instagram. Instagram's a weird platform, and
Why?
I think
Why do you think that? That's not what a lot of people tell me. But you got to be in it all the way. You can't be half pregnant with Instagram, and you got to be willing to show. You got to be able to post consistently. But you got to be able to be transparent.
Here's the problem that I have with all of these social media platforms.
Tell me.
Primarily Instagram. I don't own Instagram. Do you own Instagram?
No.
Okay. So do you have any control of what happens on Instagram?
I have control over any of this stuff.
So when you post your content, which you own, and you put it up there in this tiny little print that you have to hit when you hit accept terms and conditions, you don't own it anymore. It's theirs, not yours. So like if you make some content, for example, in partnership with a company like a Fresh Cravings or Smithfield, and you write in your contract that like you can give it to them in perpetuity, you don't actually have the right to give it to them in perpetuity once you put it up on Instagram.
Technically speaking, yeah, but I don't know if anybody would hold you to court on that.
Right, but
listen, Facebook's even worse. But
well, Facebook
at the end of the day,
owns
they are
Instagram.
giving you an avenue. But
right,
it's a pay to play.
But here's the other problem, right? Okay, so like I took a lot of marketing classes. I took a great class with Gary Stevenson at Duke, actually my senior year. And you learn about like the business of sport and how HUTs work and CPMs and how TV is priced for sports. You learn about how marketing is priced. I mean, this is interesting stuff if you guys are ever interested. Like Google how marketing gets priced, especially for TV and TV rights deals and naming deals, all these things. The thing with marketing is, in the old days, absent of digital, like you'd have a TV show or you'd have a newspaper, and a brand would go, okay, like we want to put our ad in this newspaper, or we want to put our ad during this commercial break section of this show or during this show, because this show, according to the Nielsen ratings, has 12 million viewers.
And male, female, age.
Right, and you know all this
Yeah.
information. Exactly. But at the end of the day, the call to action was always, like, the commercial had to be good enough to get people's attention. The call to action was, we hope that you see this and want to buy our product or buy our service.
A little more brand play, a little more brand.
Sure,
brand,
but there's no, like, promise. There's not a contract between the brand and the consumer who's watching this ad that if I watch this ad, I promise to buy your service or your product. There's no such thing. That never existed. And the thing that I'm finding today in working with brands on Instagram is like they feel like there has to be like this promise. Like they think that if somebody likes the picture or comments that it's going to guarantee that this person's going to go buy their product, and they're not. The way that Instagram works is the exact same way that TV shows used to work before DVRs. All it is a place to get eyeballs. And brands are like, and the agencies who work for the brands particularly, like, they're so focused on the wrong KPIs. They're so focused on like, oh, what's your engagement? How many likes did this picture get? I'm like, how many likes did it get? Who cares? Like, are these all promises to buy? It's not. All you need to know is how many people saw this. That's it. Because it doesn't matter if they saw it and then picked their nose and went away, or they went, oh my God, I love this.
But on Facebook, there is an activation play where you could go click and pick.
Sure, but that's an ad. But that's like a thing you pay for. If you are just doing it.
But you could post the content as an ad to play as well.
You could. I'm just saying, absent of using the promotional tools that these platforms use or they offer, which are incremental, they cost you money to use.
No question, and that's deceiving. If you're trying to play it organically, and the brands want you to play it organically, they want to believe that you as an influencer, as a marketer, but really you're whatever, this organic reach is going to suddenly provide them so much more exposure, which is going to translate into so many more purchases. And I don't see how that, like, is that what brings you on premise? Because you just feel it's more real, more controlled, and you know what you're doing, you know what you're getting? Is that what prompts you to go more
to go and do these activations and stuff? Yes, because you're actually like,
it's old school.
You're there. You're with the people. Like, I love hanging out with tailgaters. It's like one of the reasons I started this. I'm a part of it. I love being a part of it. I love the camaraderie of being a Cameron crazy. There is literally no better energy than on game day when you're amid like thousands, tens of thousands of people who are all cheering for the same team. I come from a different walk of life than you do, but it doesn't matter. On game day, we're all one. We're all rooting for the same team. We're all excited about the same things. We want to hang out with our friends. We want to eat. We want to drink. We want to watch the game. And that's a great opportunity to be like, okay, you and I are speaking the same language. We both love the same things. Like, this is a great salsa. I love it. I want you to try it. And hey,
it's
by
real.
the way,
And
it's real.
It's a premium now because it's hard to know if you got people's attention or not.
Right.
It's not like they're not going to malls.
Right. I mean,
nobody's going to the store anymore.
The best thing is like I leave early because I got to catch a flight because I got to get back to New York, and I'm leaving, and this girl stops me on the corner like 3 blocks away before I've picked up my Uber, and she's like, "Oh, you're the salsa girl. I saw you. That shit was really good. Pardon my language. That was really good salsa." And I'm like, it's not my company. Like, it's not my salsa. I don't make it. If I had made it, I'd feel even more proud. But I'm proud that I'm working with brands that we're on the ground together. We're reaching these people. And they literally, like, felt something enough that this girl would come up to me and be like, hey, by the way, that was really good. I just want to tell you that. That's great. You don't get that on Instagram. Sure, somebody can leave you a comment. But, like, come on. And at the end of the day, like, do I know if that girl's going to go into the Publix and go buy the salsa? No, but she did go out of her way to tell me how much she liked it. You don't get that.
Yeah.
You don't get that on.
You get a little bit of it. You get a little bit of it online, depending on what your content is about. But to me, and there's a premium now, is when you can go to a location and know you can touch people and see the reaction.
Yeah.
The survey is only going to take you so far.
Totally, I agree.
It's another losing proposition.
I think. I mean, one of the things that I've really worked on our Instagram, which you can find at The Hungry Fan, is, you know, we used to do mostly food and food porn because when I started this, I started with food because the barrier to entry was so non-existent. It wasn't even low. It didn't exist.
You're just starting with some basic recipes,
right,
and food ideas, and tactics.
Because I thought, like, when you think of game day, like, here in this country, tailgating is, like, heavy on food. We Americans love to eat and drink on game day. And, in fact, we spend $35 billion a year tailgating alone, not homegating, just tailgating on food and drink. $35 billion a year. So I thought, okay, like, if you're starting a business, the first thing that you have to do is figure out, is there a market? Okay, so there is a market, $35 billion, 80% of America tailgates, 60% of people are tailgating 5 times or more a year, 40% are tailgating 8 times or more a year. Like, I know there's a market. I know people do this. How do I know? Well, I have numbers from Forbes, but I also, like, just have, you know, anecdotal evidence from being at these tailgates with 250,000 people, at, you know, wherever, and being around. And so I started with recipes because it was the easiest thing to do. And I think that, like, we've grown since then. I mean, when you see our Instagram, it's more curative. Like, we have game day pets, we have four-legged fans, we have recipes and food porn.
It's the overall game day experience.
Right. We're
which
curating
people
the
don't
whole
talk
thing.
enough about.
Correct.
Or cover a lot. Did you feel like your show, you were starting to cover that? Do you want to take that further? The overall game day experience,
yeah,
versus the food?
We did. I mean, the food, the show that I did for CBS Sports with Ford, with the Ford F-150, and that was the whole.
That was a cool show.
It was a cool show.
Yeah.
It was very food heavy, and that's okay. But we did get to cover, like, a lot of the cool stuff that you can do in these different NFL towns or cities. What I was going to say, just to finish my thought, like, I find that of all the content that I can post on Instagram, the ones that get the most feedback generally are either, like, just every third tweet I put up a quote, some quote about being a fan or a game day, or like something from a coach or something. I put up one, like, the other day from Shaquille O'Neal about how he only made free throws like 40% of the time, and that's God's way of saying you can't all be perfect or can't always be perfect. And I'm like, you know what? That applies to everything. The feedback I get from those is great. And I think the other feedback that I get that's probably the most rewarding is when I put up a recipe of my own and people say, oh my gosh, I tried this and I loved it. And that's, you know, feedback too from the cookbook. That's valuable.
But is that an email going out? Stuff like that on your website, or are you just tweeting, or
it's on Instagram, or you can just go on the web. I mean, people will send me.
That's your go-to, Instagram.
Yeah,
my go-to is Facebook and LinkedIn.
Well, we're on. So I don't do as much LinkedIn as I should. We are on Facebook. Generally, I just set it so that the Instagram post will also post to the Facebook page.
Yeah, that's smart.
I'm on Twitter. The stuff you'll see on Twitter at The Hungry Fan is also mostly sort of, it's me. It's more me than it is like the brand. It's sort of me. You get more like sportsy stuff there. You can be pretty
active on it. What's the next thing you're going to be doing that's big? What's coming up?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, we are already looking at holiday 2019 for products, which is insane to me.
But is the football fall your best?
Yes.
I mean, that's nothing
well,
like
NASCAR is really rich. We've got
okay.
we're in talks right now to do some cool stuff with Daytona, maybe Bristol. I've heard Vegas. So we've got the Pocono Fan Fest coming up in the summer.
How about Formula One?
Not yet. We'll get there. Formula One is more of an international thing. So right now we're really focused on the United States. Although Formula One has like Formula 2, and that's starting to grow in Austin. They're opening a new track, I believe, in Miami.
And Formula One's in Austin. Now that's one of the stops. Monte Carlo. But
we have a friend whose son, Yves Balthus, he's maybe Formula 3 right now. He's like 16 years old. He's 16 years old. He was doing formula driving before he even had a New York City / New Jersey driver's license. It's insane. I went to his house. We watched Championship Sunday, both games at their place, and he's got a simulator in his room, like an actual simulator. I beat my husband.
Wow.
I used to play all these games.
Can you come up with products with like characters like that?
We could.
Are you thinking about that kind of thing or no?
Yeah, I mean, actually,
you're an entrepreneur. You're like you're a what's next gal. But I mean, think about it. You're not interested in getting anything mainstream here.
I mean, I think it would be really great to be able to grow our product line similar to how Martha Stewart grew hers. She had like a JCPenney line and a Macy's line. So there's one that, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to go those two routes, but like I'd like to have affordable game day gear for people and also higher end, nicer game day gear for people.
Maybe something I can get shipped to my house?
Yeah,
like a game day setup?
Yeah, so we have 3 lines of products right now already.
You do?
Actually, I have 4.
Now, if I go to gameday.com?
Hungryfan.com? Yeah, if you go to hungryfan.com and you click shop, you can see.
I got Game Day stuck in my head. You got
I use the word Game Day because it's sort of like this.
So hungryfan.com is, you go to hungryfan.com and I could order what?
You can order, we have organic spice blends that I made. We have a portable slow cooker, which also works to keep your food. It's like a cooler and a slow cooker.
Wow.
But we also have grilling products. We have baking products, and we have cocktail products. We have like Amazon's best grill brush. We have Amazon's best ice cube molds for your cocktail. We have.
So I was throwing a big tailgate party. I'd probably go to your website and I could pick up some of the little stuff that's gonna make it a little different.
You can pick up some of that, and then coming soon, our Shopify collection is gonna change. I'm gonna probably do a new collection every month, and I'm gonna curate other products into our collection that you can buy, because obviously, until I've made every product, I can't offer you everything.
Right.
So you'll be able to get some of our products curated in this collection along with other things. Like I've seen, one of the things I really like are these, they look like Solo cups, but they're steel. So why is that good? That's good for 2 reasons.
Is that like
One,
the Yeti thing? Is that the...
Well, no, but I mean, it's just a cup. It doesn't have...
Okay.
Yeah, but the reason that it's valuable is because, one, if you're playing beer pong, it's harder to knock over. So there's that. It's also, they say steel is more antibacterial. So if you share cups with people, the germs on the plastic stick around, but the germs on the steel don't. So it's harder to get sick sharing cups with people.
I'm not sharing anything with anyone at this point.
I'm just saying, if you did.
I used to have, we'd be in the schoolyard. We got a can of soda. 8 of us would drink the can of soda. Or whatever it is. Now, God forbid.
That's how, yes, me too. I got walking mono in high school sharing stuff with the girls' tennis team.
We became a bunch of germophobes in this world. It's
thank
crazy.
you, Howie Mandel. Yes, I know. Well, here I am with my super horsey voice right now. It's very sexy, right?
But the question I want for you, though, is and I view you from afar, but you're great on camera. You got the camera thing and the content thing going, but then you got a business thing going.
Yeah.
At some point, are you going to have to make a decision, or you think you can do both?
I'd like to do both. I mean, I really I know Martha Stewart is this.
She does both.
Right. I have conversations where some people are like, please stop comparing yourself to Martha Stewart. We don't think it's a good look for you. And then other people are like, totally get it. What I think that she did really well in the time that she did it, in the era, I should say.
Still doing it, by the way.
Still doing it. Actually, just read an article how she's going into cannabis products now, and you'll get Martha Stewart cannabis products. Interesting. She built a multi-platform lifestyle brand. Multi-platform meaning she had content and media, she had products, she had events and hospitality things she was doing. She had TV's content, and she had magazines, Martha Stewart Living, and it's great content that spans various mediums that was consumable and purchasable by her audience. Now, is her audience my audience? There might be some overlap. There could be some housewives in Connecticut who love the Patriots or something, or the Jets or the Giants.
There's a lot of people out there that spend a lot of time planning what's going to happen at that next tailgate.
Exactly. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to trim your topiary. I don't know how to trim a topiary. I don't own a topiary, and if I did, it would probably be fake because I have a black thumb and every plant I touch dies. Probably should look up more Martha stuff. But what she did, the bones of what she built, is what I'm really trying to emulate. And so to answer your question, that would mean there's a business component and there's a content component, and you have to be able to do both. And she did.
Do you have a mentor? Somebody helping you? Does your father pry or no? Because is it hard to have a father so successful? Or
No.
I was worried about with my kids. Like, God, they never come to me ask me for any help.
I've asked him for help. He helps where he can. He's been very supportive. I think the part he's resistant. I mean, I actually could use like a lot more help. Like, it would be really nice to have more help. There are a lot of things that I would like to have or do that I would need help to do.
Why not ask?
I've asked. I've asked in so many ways, but my dad he came from nothing. He built everything that he built all by himself. And so there's this feeling in him that if he were to help me in the way that I would like, or that I would, to some degree that I would like, it would take away the joy and the satisfaction that I would feel for when I succeed. So his philosophy is like, you've got to earn it, and the way you earn it is like blood, sweat, tears, and it's really, really hard. And I appreciate that. It's been really hard. As a female in sort of where I started in the worlds of sports and food, which are both male-dominated businesses and industries, I should say.
Yeah. I think you've done incredible.
Been hard.
I see the progress. You probably
Thanks.
don't, but it's like you lift weights. Your arm's not gonna show any more muscle after a couple of days. But I've seen you after a couple of years actually. So I could see the progress. To me, it's all about progress.
Thank you.
The process and the vision is much wider than it was from where I remember talking with you about it. But I've come from a school of like, I get help anywhere I can get it. I've been on that path, and I've built from nothing too, but I feel like you get the help any way you can get it every day of the week, twice on Sunday, whether it be at home, parents. Now, can you get that help all day, every day? Maybe not, but I was taught, like, if you know somebody that can help you, go get that help. But is there one... first of all, you reverse mentoring? Like, do you have college kids helping you?
We just hired 2 new
Love the
college kids, and one of them is actually a graduate of the Falk School, which was not intended. It just worked out that way. So
smart kids in that school, though.
There are smart kids in that. We've had some great interns. I was telling your assistant, actually, who is a grad, that
Falk.
Yeah, I was telling him we've had some great interns in the past, some of whom I still keep in touch with. And I totally blanked on their names when he was asking me who. And I was like, oh, my God, this is terrible. This is what it feels like to be, like, either old or I say blonde, but I'm not blonde. So
it's the old.
It's old. You're like, yeah, I'm totally with – what?
Yeah. Wait, there's more coming. More for
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to think I was telling people last week I had the cold, so I was like, I have cold fog, like brain fog from the cold.
Right.
Like my brain's sort of like cloudy. I'll be back. I'll give you full force soon. We have a couple young women who have started with us, which I'm really excited about. They're going to be helping me tackle content, which is great because I can't do everything by myself.
Edit, publish, show up.
And just basic community management. A big part of growing your social media following, I'm sure you know this, is just community management. You want to have people who can make sure that it doesn't take 12 hours to respond to a comment or a notification
It's funny, I
or a
woke
message.
up at like 5 this morning, debated whether I was going to do this boxing thing, and the guy canceled. And I was like, should I go back to sleep? I'm like, I haven't been on my LinkedIn. I dug in on my LinkedIn and Facebook to answer a lot of comments. Which if somebody took the time to comment on one of my posts,
right?
Geez.
You should come. You should right.
Respond.
And it's hard. Like the bigger you get, the bigger your company is, the more difficult it is to answer all those comments. But they're all important, and they all need to be answered.
So does size matter to you? Do you want to be a really big company one day, or do you want to be a niche?
I mean, I ultimately think that this is the kind of company that you can sell similar to how Martha sold hers. She sold to the Carlyle Group owns Associated Brands, which is a company that aggregates lifestyle brands.
Visions of growth.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to grow it to a place where one day I can sell it for a good chunk of change, and I can go on and build my own legacy somewhere, whether it's endowing a school like my dad did or doing something else that's charitable. I'd like to take this to a charitable place.
I've had a lot of people tell me, I don't know why you can't just do that now. And I have some great ideas of ways to embrace how together we are on game day and use that as a force for good and plug into other existing nonprofits. But I would like to probably spend more time and focus right now building this so that I
think we're living in a day and age, though, that especially with the younger audiences, that doing good is almost it's huge. It's so important. When I talk to my kids or younger, they want do good companies, not only companies that are doing well. So I try
100%.
to make it a part of our daily diet here at Steiner is always about doing good right alongside of doing well.
That's wonderful.
It's a rarity, though. A lot of people talk about that because it's somebody in the corner that's a community service person who's, but it's either part of your fabric or not. My suggestion is don't wait. Make it part of the fabric, even if it's a small little piece of it. People feel that, and that's the big part of the brand build, is that to make it really authentic. Even when you're not doing all that well, doing good will lead you to doing more well.
That's fair.
Yeah, most people think I do more well, then I'll do more good. No, do more good. The byproduct of that is to do well.
Well, then I need to talk to the NFL because I have an idea.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think, that it draws people, especially younger audiences are very committed to doing more good. Guys like myself and your generation, it was a huge money grab. Making a lot of money was just everything. And, we talk, when you get older, then you'll do some more charity work and good work. I think that's kind of the mantra. I'm kind of broad stroking it, but I think that doing good is an art to also, just for the obvious reasons, and also it just is big part of the brand build.
And it makes you feel good.
Yeah,
it just makes you feel really good. I know. It's this thing I lived in LA for 7 years, and for 6 of those years I fed the homeless on Thursdays with the Greater West Hollywood Food Coalition. This amazing producer woman named Sarah Ryan Black, who's actually Shirley Temple's granddaughter, I think. Lovely lady. And Diane, who was a producer on The Nanny. These two women single-handedly created this thing, and it was awesome, and it was just so fulfilling. And you just go and it was really interesting actually to see it. It's off topic.
I think
apologize,
every brand partner that comes onto your platform should have part of it as a do good play.
Yes, I would.
You have to start with you. You have to, and that's what we try to do here. We always, every athlete we always have. We don't have to. It doesn't mean the athlete isn't doing, but we want to be part of their do good play.
Totally. I mean,
we want to be part of that. We want to support that, and something that's been really good for the talent we work with. It's been good for us. Good for me. I'm not going to work a full day and not do some good. I don't see it. I've been on that page for a while. But
what I'm really inspired by right now, and this is why I was I got to talk to the NFL, because I'm inspired by how right now, it's probably the most divisive time that I can think of in this country. Just people who are at each other's throats over everything, but it's just very partisan. We're seeing it right now. You see I won't get into politics.
But do you think that the chaos and confusion ultimately will get us to clarity? If you have
I
faith
hope
in this
so.
country?
I hope so.
Do we need to get
in
there?
In the meantime, yes, and yes, we do. And in the meantime, what I said to you about how we can come from different walks of life, but on game day we're just fans of the same team. You see that. You see people hugging in the stands. And these are two people who literally could be on complete polar ends of the political spectrum. They don't know each other. They don't know what each one stands for.
And tailgate also.
And they tailgate together.
Want a burger, want some...
Yeah, one of the easiest things to do is score free food at a tailgate. You just walk around the parking lot at a Giants game or a Jets game, and you literally don't have to buy any food inside. People are more than welcome to share with you. They want you to taste their food. It's a point of pride.
Love it.
And so I want to utilize those warm fuzzies that we feel on game day and bring people together. And I don't know if it's before the game or after the game. I want to build a Hungry Fan army, and I want to take these people and put them with Habitat for Humanity and have them build a house together, like the house that the Jets fans built, or the house that you just saw what happened, this terrible tornadoes in Alabama and Lee County. It's right outside Auburn in Opelika. It'd be great to be able to put together a group of people who can help rebuild these people's communities.
Because you have the common thread with tailgating.
Yeah, and just the love of team and the love of game day and tailgating and being there together.
and what happens when you do something like when I fed the homeless, like you feel really good and you have this endorphin release, just like when you work out or when you have sex and you feel really good, and you want to do more of that because you want more of that feeling.
No
and
question.
So it's this like great mental association that you can make with like meeting new people who you have things in common with you didn't maybe know before, who maybe you would never otherwise hang out with, but now you have this shared experience of doing good together, and not only did you do that, but you feel really good about it.
It's what you remember when it's all said and done.
Exactly. I mean,
don't you think?
100%. Excuse me, 100%. You could make 1,000 different choices in this life, but at the end of the day, the things that you're going to remember are the things that are meaningful.
That's what we're all put here with stuff that is meaningful, is stuff we do for each other and help each other.
Yeah.
Not the stuff we did to help ourselves. But it's a hard lesson when you're fighting, you're grinding, and I always try to push it. If you're an entrepreneur, when to the core of it,
yes,
you're an entrepreneur, and I think it's a real privilege. When you get up in the morning, you're like, I'm not sure exactly how this day's going to play out, but I'll figure it out. Like, not a lot of people get that.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Not a lot of people get that choice. They don't get that option. They go to work and they get there. The boss tells them what to do. Then they get an hour lunch and then they go do it again for 4 hours. They go home.
But some people like that.
Nothing wrong with it.
And nothing wrong with it.
But the entrepreneur, think about the joy and the freedom. I mean, that's rich.
But it also takes a lot of inner motivation, and it takes a lot of organization, because
and stress.
When you get up, sure. I mean,
stress.
I'm just saying, like, there's the byproduct is like a lot of white hair, but
or none,
or none. But I think that you gotta, if you're gonna get up and your day is like a blank canvas with a goal that you're working towards, it's really incumbent upon you to be very organized with your time, because you could just as easily sit around and
I'll close on this
Cheetos
note.
all day.
If I sit with you in a year from now,
Mm-hmm.
all the ups and downs you've been with, what's the one thing you want to accomplish in the next 12 months, so that a year from now you go, some last time we talked, Brandon, but I got this done. This is one thing, and it's been definitely a step and a game changer for my company.
I have sort of two answers for that.
Okay.
One answer is just sort of selfishly, I'd really like to get some of this content that we're working on air happening, just because this is such a long lead thing and this kind of stuff moves at a glacial pace, and so I'm an impatient person. I'd like to just see fruition. But on a more like macro business scale, we're a small company, and I would like to see our margins grow on our products. I'd like to see us selling more products. I'd like to see more partnerships with brands that brings in money for us so that we can grow the content side. So really it's just growing the individual branches of Hungry Fan and putting more money in the coffers so that we can hire more people to grow.
Because technically speaking, if you went to a big tailgate that you were producing activation for a client, you could go there with 2 other non-conflicting products and represent 3 products.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Just be there with 3 or 4 products.
Well, it's all scale, right? Like at the end of the day, it's scale. When you have a small business, you want to scale it. You want to grow it. And what does that mean? You want to scale your offerings. You want to be able, like, growing a business as an entrepreneur, like, you make money, but you can't just take it and like put it in your pocket and go shopping with it. You got to put it back in, right? Because you got to hire. You got to usually put it back in.
But follow me on this story. Like, I'm giving out circulars from my mom's beauty parlor when I was about 11, and she's like, "You get underneath the L in Brooklyn, and Kings Highway was an express stop, so people would get off the train, and I'd give them, the flyers to go to get a wash and set back in those days, and get people to go to my mom's salon, which is 2 blocks from the train." It was a very popular train station. She comes outside the salon and they says, "What are you doing?" "I told you to get underneath the train and give out circulars." I said, "Mom, I got this covered. What are you talking about?" She says, "Well, you don't look like you have it covered because you're sitting over there on the sidewalk doing nothing, and I told you to be over there underneath the L, and there's 4 exits to the train station, 2 stops, and then 2 exits and 2 exits." I said, "Mom, I hired 5 kids."
That's awesome.
I hired 5 kids.
Of course you did.
But she goes, "Well, how are you paying them?" I said, "Well, I knew you were going to ask that question." I went to 4 other stores and told them that I would have people, kids at each exit giving out circulars, and I promised I would give out X amount of circulars this week for X amount of money. I took those circulars along with your circulars, and my kids are giving out those, rotating the circulars for all 5 stores. I'm not paying them any money because the kids couldn't get paid, so I'm giving them fireworks, because I sold fireworks on the side, and I took all the money and I monetized. And that was scale, because once I'm underneath, I got to go get somebody to go and give out the circulars.
Yeah.
I might as well have them give out 3 different circulars.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a good thing that it wasn't like a quality control type thing. Like it's just giving out circulars.
There's
It's not like
a lot of
it's
crap
not
on
like
the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Not
But,
like making cupcakes.
Back in those days, that's how you went hand to hand.
That's great.
Right?
No, I think that's. I mean, but that's like to grow. You can't do it by yourself, and that's I brought on a partner 2 years ago because I totally maxed out the amount of hours in the day that I could work, and there's only so much I could do as one person.
Time management, big issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I literally worked myself into the hospital. I worked too hard. I burned the candle at every which way but loose end. You'd say both ends, but like there were more ends than that.
Yeah.
And it was too much. And so I say like this time management and like, being circumspect about how you use your time. And then when you start to make money, putting the money back in to hire more people to replicate what you're doing, because you can't do it all. And so, in a year, I'd like to have more people, which means we've made more money, which means we're doing the right things and it's going right and going well. We're hitting the margins we need. We're introducing new products. We're creating great content that people like. We're bringing on partners. And hopefully this show that I really want to get on TV or somewhere will get done.
Is wings the number one?
I love wings.
Yeah,
Is wings the number one? I don't know.
Chili.
Pizza, burgers, chili, wings. Those are like, hot dogs are very
It's
popular.
been hot too. Meatballs. I see it a lot of
Yeah,
meatballs.
meatballs are tricky, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because you have so many people now who have gluten sensitivity, and people throw breadcrumbs in the meatballs to bind it, which you don't have to do. You could just use egg. I mean, if you're going to have the meat, just use the egg. It's not like you're like a vegetarian. You can't have an egg. You're having a freaking meatball.
You're right.
But the meatballs are tricky because everyone's like, oh, are there breadcrumbs in these? Am I gonna have like an attack if I eat them? So, I think chili's fairly standard.
Wings, you don't have to heat up really. You can kind of eat them warm, cold,
pizza
hot.
you can have hot or cold. I mean,
That's
cold
true.
pizza for breakfast
Love
is the
cold
jam.
pizza.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Love cold
But
pizza.
I love wings. Here's what I will say before you close it
I'll
up.
give
If
you
you're
the final word.
if you're a wings person, go on my Instagram at The Hungry Fan. Go to the Instagram TV. There is a video I put up there of my friend Tom, who is like the mayor of Buffalo. He will be the mayor of Buffalo one day.
These are
I'm
real
telling
wings?
you. These are real wings. And he's teaching you. When you so you have the drumstick and then you have the wingette. And the wingette freaks people out. It's the one with the 2 bones.
Yeah.
He will show you how to eat that. Like, can't fail. Get it right every time. You push the meat down. You eat it like a lollipop. There's no meat left. No muss, no fuss. It's genius. It's my favorite video I've ever made, and I'm not even in it.
Thank you for coming.